I called Zane Dad. I only dared to say it when it was just the two of us. That tiny bit of love was something I kept hidden, lying to myself. I was not truly their daughter. What I felt was wrong, but Zane had already said it first, and I could not refuse. After he brought me to the family residence, he told me to wait at the side and said he would come get me soon. I sat on the sofa. A crystal chandelier hung from the high ceiling of the main hall, and the light was so bright it made me dizzy. Delicate desserts and fruits were laid across the long table in front of me. More and more people were arriving, all in beautiful gowns and tailored suits, looking like they had stepped out of a fairy tale. Meanwhile, I sat at the side, dusty and out of place. My heart beat faster and faster. Then I felt piercing stares, and I heard people whispering about Zane. How old is the White family's eldest son now? How many engagements has he turned down? I heard he is already in love with someone. Look at that kid in the corner. Could she be the illegitimate daughter he brought back this time? He looks so proper, yet he already has a kid. They were pushing him to get married just a few days ago, and now a kid shows up out of nowhere. Mr. Grant is going to be furious. The whispers grew louder as the mocking gazes around me intensified. I finally could not take it anymore. I stood up and walked straight to the man who had been talking about me. Who told you that? Who said I was Zane's illegitimate daughter? I was short, and my voice still sounded young, but nobody could ignore me. The man forced a laugh and said, "Don't take it too seriously, girl. We were just joking around." His smile was stiff and forced. "If you don't know the truth, then don't talk like you know it," I said bravely, trying to calm my beating heart. Then a hearty voice rang out from behind me. "Ha ha, not bad. Zane has a good eye and adopted a good girl." I turned around. At some point, Zane was already behind me. The one speaking was an old man whom he was supporting. "Hazel, come say hello to your great-grandfather," Zane said, smiling. Only then did I realize that the old man who had spoken was Zane's grandfather. I walked over nervously, my palms damp with cold sweat, but I still forced a bright smile. "Hello, great-grandpa. I'm Hazel." Good. Zane ran to me and told me he adopted a girl. I was thinking that this was all going to be very messy. Then I saw you and figured I had no reason to say no. He smiled at me, gentle and warm, and he looked up at the people who had been gossiping, and his gaze turned sharp. I will pretend I didn't hear anything. Do I really need to remind you all how important it is to know what to say and when to say something? Or are some of you less sensible than a child like Hazel? The men hurried to laugh it off and shower him with flattery. They even started praising me. This little girl really is something else. She's so young, and she already has both guts and a brain. Zane swept a lazy glance across them as he announced, "From now on, she is part of the White family. The adoption paperwork is already being processed." I raised my head and stared at him. I could not believe it. I was still stunned from what Zane had just said, when a woman's voice rang out from the entrance. Hey, Zane White, how dare you steal my daughter?" I looked over and saw Emma storming in, fury written all over her face. She shot Zane a glare, then yanked me behind her. She pouted and went straight to Grant. "Grandpa Grant, she's my kid. How could you do this behind my back?" Grant clearly knew what had happened already, and he teased her on purpose. "Oh? Since when did you have a daughter this old? We're not even married, and you're still young. Letting Zane raise her, it's perfect." Emma glanced at Zane, who looked completely unbothered. Then she turned her eyes at me as I stood there still frozen. She huffed and dug in her heels. No, I saw her first. She already calls me Mom." Zane smiled as he cut in. "She calls me Dad too, you know." "Hazel, you." Emma spun on me as though I had betrayed her. She took a deep breath and crouched down, asking, "Then you pick. Do you want a dad or a mom?" She kept wiggling with her eyebrows frantically as she waited for my response. I sneaked a glance at Zane. He acted like he did not care and stayed silent, but his eyes never left us. I put on my most innocent face and said, "I want Mom and I want Dad too. Why can't you both be together?" Emma froze. Zane coughed as though he had almost choked on something. Grant burst out laughing heartily. "Exactly, Hazel is so smart. Grandpa, what are you saying?" Emma glared, then noticed all the guests were watching with eager eyes. "Fine, Zane, you were faster this time, but the adoption is not finalized yet, so no one knows who the final winner is." After throwing down that threat, she dragged me off to find something nice to eat. looked back and waved, signaling Zane to hurry up and come over. Even though I was still young, I could read people well. Zane had not taken his eyes off Emma once, ever since she had arrived. Maybe I was being too greedy, but if I could have both a dad and a mom, how happy would my days be? Meanwhile, Emma held my hand and kept warning me not to get tricked by Zane. Don't get fooled by him. He might look cool as a cucumber, but he's quite vicious inside. When we were little, he set me up all the time. How is he fit to be a dad? What you need is a mom like me. She talked while stuffing cake into her mouth. Just then, the champagne tower beside us started to wobble, and it suddenly tipped toward us. I reached for Emma to run, but it was too late, as the whole tower collapsed with a sharp clatter of glass. I grabbed my new mom on instinct and squeezed my eyes shut. The pain I expected never came. Instead, a broad, strong embrace wrapped around both of us. I opened my eyes. It was Zane. He had taken the hit on his back and wrapped his arms tight around us. Are you both all right? Emma stared up at him, startled. Then her hand touched his back, and she was completely stunned. It was slick with blood. You. Zane frowned deeply, as though forcing himself through the pain, but he still managed to smile. Am I really that bad in your eyes? Then can you teach me how to be a good dad? I quietly slipped out of Emma's arms and ran to the front hall to call for help. Zane was already down on the floor by the time I had brought Grant over. Emma clung to him, crying. I did not know what they had said to each other, but I saw Zane blink at me once, quick and deliberate. I smiled brightly. I was going to have both a mom and a dad this time.